How do fellas, nice back here again with another inbox review for you, and today we're going to be looking at Eduard's Spitfire story, The Few. So this is a limited edition boxing. You get 10 different marking options, so it's all early Spitfires. So Spitfire Mark 1s, ranging from, I think it's 1938 all the way through to September 1940. So we have two pre-Battle of Britain, quite a lot before Battle of Britain, some 38, 39, and then the rest, well, some in March, just before the Battle of Britain. So around about the time of the invasion of France, but they didn't go over to France, but they might have covered everybody from Dunkirk, all the way through up to, like I said, September 1940. So they would have taken part in the Battle of Britain. Okay, now this Eduard kit, it's got he's got two kits in, so it's a dual combo, full masks, photo etch parts, decals for 10 options, and a resin figure of Douglas Bader. Okay, so Sir Douglas Robert Stewart Bader, CBE, DSO and bar, DFC and bar, so 148 resin figure. Okay, which we'll have a look in a minute. Now, because this is a dual combo, I'm only going to be showing you one of the kits. All right, so obviously there's two in the one, so when I open up, we'll only be having a look at one. There's no point in having a look at both sprues. So what I'll do, I'll put you onto over it and we'll get cracking. Before we get cracking, just a nice little thing to look at. Well, you get a lovely poster in there with a bit of write-up on the back of the Spitfire. Some lovely shots there of the prototype and some Mark 1 Spitfires, all from a different era. So yeah, that's a really nice thing. Alright, so again, we'll get back up to the top. So starting with the instruction manual, a really nice thick instruction manual. Just get rid of those. Okay, shiny glossy paper, A4 booklet, and then we go straight into some spiel about the actual aircraft. Okay, then we've got our sprue map telling you what bits and pieces you'll be using, and like I said, we've got two parts. Okay, so it looks like we have got two different fuselage halves. I'll only show you one because obviously they're going to be very, very similar. Okay, I can't see from the picture what's really different, and I might not be able to see that from the actual sprue, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And then we move straight on to the cockpit. Now, the cockpit in the Spitfire, for these kits, there are a lot of parts, but it adds just that level of realism, the level of detail that we all crave, and it does go together really, really well. So we've got the two side walls, some of the bulkheads where the seat bracket and the armor plating goes above the head. We then move on to the control stick, okay, or yoke, which then gets attached to the floor. We have the seat in multiple parts, so you've got the two side bits, the main seat and the cushion going onto the plate, and then the photo etch seat belts, and I can't remember what they're for. I think they're the like flare dispensers, so the flares will sit in there. Okay, we then move on to actually putting all that together, and putting the seat harness together to go through the loop onto the instrument panel. And also you've got your PPE, that's from work, that. So you've got your PE and you've got your actual instrument panel, and there is a decal option as well. And then that all goes into the bulkhead, into one side of the cockpit. And then we move on to putting the foot pedals in, either with the PE or with the normal. and then you've got the other sidewall that goes together. So you get a really nice tidy cockpit there. We then move on to putting the actual cockpit into the fuselage arms, making sure you follow it. You might have to fill parts. You might have different parts, different markings. So as you're going through this, make sure you mark up which one you are doing. And as you can see, there's different parts to add or to take away depending on what you're doing. And then the lower wing, okay, you can see it here with this great big spar. Okay, so that great big spar there that goes across the front, which then you've got to make sure you drill out the right holes for what looks like lighting and stuff like that. Okay, and then with the colours here. Then move on to marrying the upper wings to the lower wings. Okay, after we put on, let's have a look at this. We put on the wheel wells. Now, I like how these wheel wells are going to look. It's a lot simpler than some of the Mark 9 ones that Eduard do. Okay, so you can see how it's just the two parts for the wheel well. I believe that's a lot simpler looking at it than previous. And also you've got to make sure you get the right brownings in there. So you can see A to C and D to J. And you can see, let's have a look, see what the difference is. So they're all slightly different. Some are they different? I can't really tell from these pictures, but you can see R11s and R10. R11s as opposed to R10s. Once that's done, we then marry everything up to the fuselage. That's new. I've not seen that before. That bit for the P29. I don't know what that is. Only on markings A and B, so it might be something to do with the aerials. The tailplanes going together, and then all the rudder parts and all that going onto the aircraft. Same as every other Spitfire I've ever built from Eduard. We move on to putting the control surface of the wingtips on the actual aircraft. This plating that goes on markings A to C, that strip that goes on markings D, and then we've got the radiators for the engine and maybe the oil cooler, okay, and how it all goes together. Before then we've got another one at the front as well with the chin. Okay, then adding the flap to the radiator and how it gets attached with pipes and stuff like that. And then we move on to the different wheel colours. Okay, so there we are, all the different wheels on there. And then putting those onto the actual aircraft. Okay, we've then a picture down at the bottom with telling you how those wheels should line up before moving on to the different canopies and doors and stuff like that, and also, you know, the prop for the early Spitfires. Now we have another picture of putting the prop on for the later Spitfires, and the different canopies, whether you want it open or closed. And there you are. We've even got where the aerials, so on the tail to the aerial mast for markings A, D and G. For F, H, J, obviously you've got the one from the mast and then the ones from the tail into the side of the aircraft. And then we've got the resin figure. There's, as I can see, there's no colour call out for the resin figure, so that's something you'll have to find out yourself. And then also the mast set for the canopy. Before we move on to the 10 different colours, so we've got number 19 Squadron from Duxford in October 1938. So an early Spitfire with a prop, as you can see the bulge not on the canopy and the silver belly. Okay, We then move on to spring 1939. Okay, so again, another pre-war one, another early Mark 1. So again, with the 2-blade propeller and the underside with the black and the white. Okay. Then we move on to a later Spitfire, and as you can see, it's still got the older aerial mast. It's got the bulge in the canopy now, and the prop. Okay, so this is from summer 1939, and now we're moving into the actual war. So March 1940. Okay, from 602 Squadron, still with the earlier radio mass. Okay, but the bulge canopy and the black and white belly, and with the earlier roundels on. Okay, just going back a minute, just want to check something out. Yeah, so these ones as well hasn't got the army plated on. So if you have a look at the windscreen, okay, you can see that it's quite flat. There's no armor plating there. Same on B and C, and then as we move into D, you can see we've got the armor plating, and then same again. So this one's May 1940 with the black and white belly, but the roundels now are starting to look like the later ones, but you can see the right on the edge of the wings. So we move on to June 1940. Okay, so this is Douglas Bader's aircraft with a big yellow roundel, the later mast, the later looking canopy with the rear view mirror, but the black and white earlier war underside with the rest silver. Okay, with the roundels on. And now we move into what everybody thinks a Spitfire would look like, you know, during the Battle of Britain. So the brown and green upper, and what we call the duck egg green or eggshell green belly with the bigger roundels. And this one was June-July 1940. Number 74 Squadron. Another Battle of Britain one, August-September 1940. And then number 19 Squadron from August-September 1940. And again, you can actually see the difference with some aircraft and their markings. So, just for example, if you have a look at the roundel here as opposed to here, you see how the centre of that one is a lot smaller than that one. And then we've got the number of the aircraft, a nice big one there, and you can see the smaller ones there. And you'll find that whatever you see, so this one hasn't got the identification numbers, whereas this one has. See, a lot of the different squadrons had different markings, and even those between different aircraft of the same squadron would have different markings, different type of markings. We then move on to September 1940. Again, you can see the right of the wingtip. Okay, big identification numbers, and the different roundels again, and obviously little Popeye markings there. Okay, we then move on to the different stencilings for the Mark 1 before we then go on to what other bits and pieces you can get. So a nice instruction sheet there with plenty of detail in there. So we'll start with some of the main wing and fuselage parts, and this might be quite hard to pick up, but you can actually see all the beautiful rivet detail just there. Okay, and then we've got the upper wings, same sort of stuff on there. We turn it over, and then we've got the some little bits that pick out in the wheel well. Okay, so that's really nice that. onto the fuselage, and again, but with the fuselage there are raised and recessed digits, rivets. Okay, this is how I feel. Yeah, so the rear of the fuselage all the way down to there. Okay, so that section there, okay, on all sides, that's all raised. Then we've got recess around the back there, recess at the front, and recess on the wing root. Okay, so some lovely detail on there. I'll just run it down there, it's nice and slowly. And that's both sides. Swing it over, and then just some simple detail, because all the detail for the inside is going to be on the actual cockpit itself. So some of the smaller parts now. So now we're looking at cockpit and other parts. So here's the lower cockpit wall. Okay, with the bulkheads, you can see there's 3 different types. Look, so depending on which one you're going to be building. Okay, the PE will have a plate on some of them that you'll stick on. We have the floor, some more bulkheads just there, sides of the seats. Okay, one of the seat versions, you can just see there with the cushions, that one won't get used. Part of the plates, exhaust, which I always like to see, is drilled out, which is really good. That one's slightly damaged or something like that, but that shouldn't be a problem. All the control bits and pieces, the yoke, some of the wheels, some of the throttle quadrants and all that sort of stuff. The props are 2 different types, so the early prop and one of the later props. Some nice detail, some nice rivet detail actually on the spar that runs the length of the main wing, and again some detail in the wheel wells themselves. On to some of the control surfaces. So some of the wingtips, nice detail again, the chin and the tail planes, and the actual fabric covered areas. So the tail, the rudder and the ailerons, or the control surfaces on the wings, all nicely done in the fabric, and with some nice detail actually on the radiators and the doors. All different doors for the different versions. Only thing it's not a gripe as such, but the only thing I don't like sometimes with these Spitfires, it might work out all right, but the tail wheel. Okay, so you can see it's in 2 parts. All right, so painting the tail wheel can be a little bit problematic. There are ways to get around it, and hopefully I'll be able to show you that when I come to build it. Okay, so really nice part. We have 2 more props. This is the seats that you'll be using. So we've got that one there, and you can see it's got the rivets on the back and the, I don't know whether the chaff displays, cartridges or what. And then we've got the other one with the padded back. Okay, and the side of the seats just there. Okay, with some nice detail. Now I won't be using the PE part because I'm not going to bend that. I'm probably going to drill those out to make those a little bit deeper, or put some maybe India ink in there once it's painted, because then it'll look deeper. We've then got the clear parts, and to be quite frank, I have never had any problems with any of the clear parts from Eduard, and this is much the same. You can see the two different windscreens, so that one without the armor plating and that one with. Okay, again, some rather nice details. Oh, there we've got another one without, just there. The Douglas Bader resin figure, nice touch. Okay, so there he is in all his glory. His chin, to be fair, looks a bit big. It looks like he's got a beard there, if I'm honest. But no, it looks really nice. Normal Eduard photo etch, so you get 2 sheets, so 1, 2, also because there's 2 aircraft. All right, and that looks really nice, as I would expect from Eduard. Okay, some lovely detail there. The canopy masts, I'm not going to get these out. Really simple. You've got 2 pre-cut canopy masts in there. And then moving on to the decals. So you get your normal stencils, okay? Mark 1 to Mark 5 stencils for 2020. Okay, so they would do for your later Mark 5 Spitfires, and then these ones are for this actual aircraft. So these ones, let me just have a look. Okay, are the new, you can tell straight off that they're a new type, the new type of Eduard decals. Okay, so that's really weird. I can see that one there. I'll also check the instructions. So 32 alpha and 42, 42, 42, 42, 42. Oh, it is, yes. So there we are. So that one there, okay, is to depict fresh paint. So these two 32 alpha ones there are depict either 32 alpha or 32 Bravo, whether depending on whether you're going to paint it to make it look like fresh paint. But as you can see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. I don't know if you can just see just there the carrier film. Okay, so the carrier film on these newer decals is a lot bigger. Okay, now they say you're not meant to actually peel them off, okay, but they can be peeled off. You can see how shiny and how speckled that is. Hopefully you can anyway. Oh, you might not be able to see it, but to the eye you can actually physically see the little speckle, as if it's silvering actually on the sheet. Like I said, I have not used any of these as yet, but no doubt I am going to have to. All right, so I will report my findings once I'm done. Okay, and you can see the markings for the actual codal letters. So there we are, Eduard's Spitfire story review. Now, like I said before, Eduard Spitfires are probably one of the best models in scale. Okay, they build up beautifully. I like how they've simplified the wheel wells, if that's the case. I think it is, and how they simplified the actual exhaust stacks, because they could be quite a pain for people that didn't really know how they would go together. They could be a little bit finicky. But these ones, I don't know whether it's because it's the older stacks, but these ones are newer, because obviously it's a newer kit, but it's of an older variant or mark of the Spitfire. So it's the Mark 1. But I can see this building up really, really beautiful. I can't see it being a problem at all. Anyway, so that's it for now. Thank you for stopping by, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.